Oh, I gotta call the meeting.
Yeah, I gotta hit record on this, so
Okay.
whenever you're ready to do that.
You read,
If I see Karen's name pop up, I'll let her in.
Okay. Oh, are you telling me I'm ready?
Recording in progress.
Calling to order the open space full committee meeting April 2nd at 5:02 PM. And number one, public audience. Do we have anybody here for public audience? No, we do not. Okay, check. I'd like to ask for an approval of the minutes of February 5th.
So moved.
Second?
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Well, I was gonna ask if there was any discussion, but I guess there's not. Okay, good. So now we're on the charter revision letter, which the charter revision has asked from each board and commission. I think the next meeting is just April 15th or something like that.
I don't think that was the deadline for the letter.
No, it isn't, but I'm just saying when the
Yeah.
next meeting is, so it might be good to get it in sooner than later.
Yeah, I figured we'd try and finalize it today.
I stay away.
Was Paul Developed said something, he wanted to ask me something, he wanted to ask me anything.
Make sure you say, talk loud enough for Helen to hear, just in
Oh,
case.
Yeah.
alright, that was just.
Okay, so in the packet is we talked at the work group about can everyone on Zoom hear us? Helen, can you hear?
Yes, I can hear.
Oh, good. So in the packet, there's the section of the town charter related to the open space committee. And then we also copied in the section from the town code. So this is what we talked about last time at the work group. Some minor edits to make the two things aligned and clarify a couple of things. There wasn't really big things, but I don't know, everyone can see that or has there. Oh, thank you, Tom.
You're welcome. I aim to please.
I didn't know.
I just have a quick question, may I?
Yep.
Okay, line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, where it says the committee shall consist of the first selectman or select woman. And further down, after the chairs are mentioned, and it says, hold on, it's such small print, I'm trying to find it now. Where it says, and their designees, or their designees. Now, is that clear to everyone that the first selectman or select woman doesn't have to be the actual member, that the selectman can also nominate a designee?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to be sure everybody was comfortable with that.
I had mentioned this at the last time. I was told the reason that it was the first selectman in the past was because in the old form of government, they wanted the person responsible for overarching responsibility for land and
Correct.
was on here, and that is no longer the case, which makes,
Karen's coming.
doesn't make the argument that it could just be any board of selectmen, any selectman person, but if it's the designee of the
You
first
can-
selectman, then if somebody who loves open space and wants to be here,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
I
and we
don't
were
wanna dilute the conversation.
mentioning earlier that I know Kelly's coming for Culture Parks and Rec. And previously, someone came as the designee of the zoning chair. And we could have someone coming as the designee for planning, and maybe we should send that notice out to, make sure that these other boards come to the open space meeting, at least quarterly or something like that.
Probably.
Where was the planning person coming from? Where's the planning on that? Or was it were they just one of the extras?
They're one of the chairs that's on the commission.
I see conservation, I see zoning, I see first selectman, I see chair of,
Planning. You don't see it?
That's
I-
Aaron.
oh, chair of planning, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I
I'm
apologize.
asking Tom if he could just go a little bit slower. I'm not catching what he's saying.
I apologize, Ellen. I didn't see where it mentioned the chair of the planning commission. I was overlooking it on the screen.
Okay, you said something about the chair of the planning commission, and I didn't catch what you
It's
said about it.
irrelevant. It's nothing. Okay, we've already figured it out.
Yeah, it was a mistake on my part,
Oh,
or
okay,
an
all
oversight.
right, okay. In one or the other of the documents that we're trying to pair together, one from the code and so forth, and one from the charter, I'm not sure that the chair of the zoning commission was mentioned in one of them. Is that correct?
No, I see them in both.
I'm sorry?
I see them in both, right after Conservation Commission.
They're in both?
They're in both.
Yeah, it was the culture
Okay.
park
Thank
and
you.
rec was missing in the second and is added in here, it looks like, in red. Is it right?
yeah.
Yeah, so that was the one that was missing, but they're in line.
Yeah.
Okay,
So related to the top part where it's highlighted in yellow, I put a side note because it says one shall be unaffiliated. And I didn't know, I've realized there's a difference between, there's other and then there's also unaffiliated. And I didn't know if we intended to make it specifically unaffiliated or we intend it to be anything other than a D or an R.
I think other is the better term because I think the charter is gonna try to incorporate more unaffiliateds in other places as far as appointments go.
Because you can also be, sometimes we've had a third party in Simsbury.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Although I'm thinking in other places, I think it refers to unaffiliated, not a libertarian.
other.
Yeah. But even the new we're working on the process for the unaffiliated voters through personnel. Nobody's talking about other party, they're just talking about unaffiliated. Because
Right.
that's a majority, if those are the three majority representation in
Yeah,
town,
that's
so it's fair, I guess.
Yeah, I just wanted to know that was our intent, was unaffiliated
I
and not
believe it
other.
is the intent.
Okay, that's fine. Then we can scratch that.
And they're only tiny little edit, where we say after their designees in the second one where it says 3, should we also include bracket 3? Because we do that in the upper,
Yeah.
the upper one.
Consistent.
Oh, down below,
Consistency is
Yeah.
good.
okay.
You wanna,
mean, that's just
where
a-
exactly is that side to side of both?
Right.
So what?
By the red 3,
Put in 3 in a parentheses, a number.
The number 3, the 3 other members to be appointed?
Oh.
Just type in the number 3, that's what they did up above.
I can't type into this,
Oh,
it's
okay.
it's a PDF, we're
Okay,
making notes for whoever's
Okay.
collating this letter.
Yes. It's a PDF. I hate PDF.
I'm gonna step away for just a minute to get some noise out of my background.
Are you making these, or if you're trying to make these both look like the same thing, then you left out the committee shall hold public audience at full committee meetings. In the bottom one.
oh yeah,
Who did this?
I did.
Okay.
You must have been busy.
Sorry.
That was your,
Where would you put it?
So the
end?
bottom,
The same
this-
sentence.
if they're both the same, you
Oh,
could just copy and paste them both. Here.
and why are they in both? That's another question I have, but not to answer today.
Okay, I'm sorry, I stepped away for a moment.
You didn't miss
to go-
anything.
We're all done now.
I have a question.
Yep,
Am I missing something, or how if we have a committee coming together with all of these prescribed people as members, and who would be the chairman of the committee?
Well, it's always been the first select person, but I think this comes under what we talked about at the last meeting, that it wasn't, and you were at the last meeting, Helen, where we said the committee shall establish rules of procedure, so we weren't gonna like specify a whole bunch of rules about that. That's what we discussed last time, I believe.
Check the minutes.
So I know that, but I'm saying, within the rules, it would say that we would select the chairman amongst us.
That would be part of establishing their own rules,
Yeah.
I would think.
Cause you don't wanna put it,
And
you
that
don't,
would be one of the rules.
That they'd have to establish.
are there rules today or there no rules? So nobody knows why the first selectman is other than
It's just
historically.
always
Cause that,
it's always
yeah,
has
we
been
talked
the
about
first
that last
selectman.
time.
It's the
I have so much power that I should be there.
prestige.
Prestige. Okay. Yeah, that's the right place, 'cause if you put it in here, then you're stuck. Right? If you put the person is in here,
Mhm.
you can't change it.
And it
Mhm.
makes sense for the first select.
It does, but let's say, you know, you as
Designate.
conservation chair often serve as the chair, and if the
Yeah,
first
you
selectman
do.
doesn't wanna do it,
Yeah.
why, I don't think we should put it in the rules
No.
because it provides
No, and I
flexibility.
think-
And
Yeah,
right
I
now it
agree.
says we can
Yeah.
decide
And I
what to
think the
do.
only reason I did was because of seniority.
Yeah, no, I didn't,
But
wasn't here, I didn't know. what I was
Wendy,
doing.
I think, excuse me, Wendy, I think you were the one that brought that up
I did,
about.
trying to get out of it. No, I think the rules should include that when we have when we get to the rules and establish how that works. And not embed it in here.
So I'm still unclear as, you're saying not to put it here under 21 -3, not to put it here.
I would say not to put it here unless we put something flexible like the first select person is the chair unless the committee establishes another chair.
Yes,
We could say something like that. However, the sentence, the committee shall establish rules of procedure, already sort of covers that kind of situation,
So
right?
you feel comfortable then that not saying anything about who chairs the committee, that will be taken care of with the rules? And that would be assumed as written in 21-3. Is that correct?
I think so.
Okay, all right.
Kelly, do you have any comments on this?
I mean, I think you said it before, I'll just reiterate it. If you wanted to add something to the effect of, absent, specific rules, the standing order shall be, the first select is first select person. What's your title, Wendy?
I'm the first
Is
selectman.
the chair.
I'm the first selectman. I don't care about, I was gonna
The
say
boss.
gender.
Yeah.
I don't care about
Yeah, the
gender.
boss.
Yeah, really.
I don't think that would hurt, because like you said, Susan, it gives you flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we said.
So perfect. Yeah, it wasn't an original thought for me, but it is a good idea.
I have a thought. How about not saying first selectman or first select woman at all, and just say a member of a member of the board of selectmen?
But then you could say that for every commission. True?
Well, that's covered by or the designees.
Right, we already said that. Unless you don't want the first selectman on the commission, I mean, that's another option too.
Well, that's what you had suggested before.
No, I suggested it has designee, so there is an option to put somebody potentially on the board that was much more engaged in open space. in the liaison assignments in the organizational meeting. So that would be something on the first selectman to do. And if the first selectman chooses not to do that, then the rules of procedure could say, like what Susan said, that, by default, the first selectman is the chair of the commission, but it's if the commission decides to go another route, that's fine. I don't know how you say it, but you can do that when we do the rules,
Hey,
right?
hey,
Sounds right to me.
Completely agree with
It's going circular
Okay,
here.
thank you.
I think we're all saying this, you
Yeah.
guys are all saying the same thing, just
Yeah.
different sentences.
And I'm looking just.
Now, come to think of it, just kidding,
So, no, I was gonna say something, though, but this is in the code, I'm looking, so again, I always compare. If I look at the Economic Development Commission, they're in chapter, are we in a chapter?
Yeah, the upper part is chapter
Oh, we're under.
section 615. This is chapter 21, section
That's-
3.
But that's,
The lower
it's
section.
weird because that's like a funding, under funding, it's not an open space. Do you know what I'm saying?
So the top part of this is the
The
only
charter.
part that's in the charter.
Okay, the rest is in the
The
code.
rest is in
Oh.
the code or the
Right.
ordinance or whatever. And I just noticed there was a discrepancy, which is why I tried to bring this all up at the same time and fix it.
Got it.
Okay.
But I don't wanna, but the code section on the open space is buried in funds and it's not, it's just weird. Do you know what I'm saying? If I'm looking
Is
at,
that the only place it's mentioned? Because there should be an open space fund.
yeah, it's under the
Is
funds.
there nothing else other than that?
Not in the code.
It's mentioned,
I guess it doesn't need to because it's in the charter.
It's in the charter.
But
Yeah.
it's, some things are in both.
when you're seeing funding under 21.6, there's no changes recommended to that. That's a section of the code. It's mentioned in other places, like 21.8 is the process for criteria for disposition. So 21.3 is where it talks about the formation. That's what you're looking at on the screen. So that's from the,
21.3 establishes the committee.
yes, in the code. But the charter, the section at the top of the page is from the charters, the actual wording from the charter.
I've had it reversed. Could you bring down the one,
Yep.
page, the 163?
615, you mean?
So this is the charter. When you say, in past practice, it's always been referred to as the committee was established by charter. So 615 is what they are referring to by that, rather than 21.3.
Correct.
That's confusing to me. Okay.
I was just gonna make my point, I don't think.
So back to the point about the chair, do we wanna add something about the default?
You said we're gonna do that in the rules of procedure.
Where are the rules of procedure?
I thought we were gonna write them.
Today?
No,
No, the open space.
No.
Oh, in general.
You said we were gonna
Okay.
address rules of procedure.
Yes, that's fine.
Because-
I didn't know if you thought maybe we should put it in the
Well,
code below.
What I was looking at another code for another commission to see what they did.
Okay,
Okay, that's how I operate. And under economic development in their code, they mention just that the commission shall appoint a vice chair and a chair,
yeah, I saw that.
right?
Yeah,
That's all they said. But they don't say that in the charter. So the only place we would say that would be in the code, that we will, but if we per the establish the rules as a procedure where we will define the chair or the vice chair. I don't think everybody's gonna have to get a chair or vice chair, so.
sure. Okay,
And the, yeah.
Okay.
Move on to the next page?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't had a problem sorting out who is gonna be the chair at any of our meetings, so.
I wanna see
Oh,
them
I-
all
I-
wrestle.
I do have one more question.
Okay.
Oh.
I'm sorry, is there a pause for, you're thinking about that item, I would have another item to mention.
Me too.
Question. If we're trying to pair these two sections and have them be similar, oh, never mind. I just found it for myself. I answered my own question.
I have a question.
No.
It's a real one. If I'm looking at these charter sections, it says how many terms or what kind of term these people serve. This doesn't say anything about that.
So,
they're appointed.
Tom, could you give me that
They're
screen again, 163?
Yeah.
So are these other people. Public building is appointed, isn't it? Board of Ethics is
Well,
appointed.
there are terms for the chair, there are terms for the people serving on the various commissions.
No, that's true. Park and Rec is like
But if you're
4
gonna
years.
appoint 3 people that are out of
Out
the,
of the, yeah,
they're
they
gonna
don't
have to have some sort of term.
It's a good point.
Thank you.
How long is it?
It would make sense to me that if the other similar committees
Yeah.
have terms, that this one should as well, unless there's an overriding reason not to.
Well, it would either be concurrent with their term on the other board.
That,
But not for not for the three extra.
Okay, reappointed or something.
Yeah.
that's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about now that you mentioned.
Well, I think there might be a distinction because we are a committee that is appointed by the Board of Selectmen. The other entities might be elected.
No,
It would just be-
EDC is appointed by the Board of Selectmen.
Conservation's appointed.
Yeah,
Does have terms.
they have terms. What's your term?
What?
What is conservation term?
Life sentence.
I think it is.
Oh, here it is, right here, 4 years.
Oh, yeah.
Members, so I would say 4 years if conservation is 4 and
That would make sense.
unless,
I think, you don't wanna know what I think.
Tell
I
us.
think 4. I think you go 4.
I think
Yeah.
I'm sorry, can I speak? I didn't
yeah,
mean to interrupt. It was past practice every 2 years because the Board of Selectmen are elected every 2 years.
Well, Helen,
Now,
conservation is every 4 years, and we're appointed by the Board of Selectmen.
but I'm saying that's what it was past practice for us. And as the committee always was reappointed every 2 years.
It's
So,
3 or 4.
But we're only talking about the 3 non-affiliated people.
right.
Yeah, and the other chairs of the other commissions, there are,
Their terms might be staggered
Yeah, it
when they were
doesn't matter.
appointed.
they're taken care of by either election or appointments.
Yeah,
Do we have to put that in the charter or in this ordinance
To
or
me, that
what?
almost seems like established rules and procedures, but
Yeah, that could also be under established rules and procedures.
well, here's the question, we don't know if the charter's gonna make any changes to take things out of the charter.
that's true too.
I'd say I don't know, because it would be easier if these things were not in the charter, because then you wouldn't have to go to the charter to change them. But the ones that are currently in the charter give a term. So you could put in the term and say to the charter commission, if you're changing that consistency, then take it out, or we'll put it in. You know what I'm saying?
Is there, I mean, you have it open,
I do.
is there anywhere in the charter where it says appointments made by the Board of Selectmen are for a term of 4 years or 2 years? So that it's, there's not,
I don't
I
know.
don't
it's
think so.
referenced, it's already referenced somewhere else, so
But-
anywhere where they make an appointment, it's always gonna be 4 or it's always gonna be 2.
No, we go by whatever the commission is. You know what I'm saying, like EDC, however long they serve, based on what the EDC requirements are, is how long they serve.
okay, the EDC is also appointed by the Board of Selectmen.
Mm-hmm.
And you just were saying, what is their protocol? And couldn't hear what you were saying, there was double talk. I mean, 2 people talking. Could you repeat that again? If they are an appointed commission, they're called a commission, And what is designated, 2 years, 4 years, what does it say?
Well, they vary, but Board of Ethics shall serve a 4-year term. Economic Development, where it is now, Conservation is a 4-year term. So guess whatever you want it to be,
Does it say that in the establishment
It
of that
says it-
commission?
yes. I don't know if it says it anywhere, like generically, if it doesn't, you know what I'm
Right.
saying?
So then it appears that we are the only one that is appointed by the Board of Selectmen that has no language to determine the term, years, and therefore we should be consistent.
So there should be a line added, whether, and then let the charter commission decide to accept it or not accept it, but there should be a line that, so decide how you wanna do it. Would you want to recommend 2? Would you wanna recommend 4? And then let's write that in and then move on.
I will, if you want to make it formal, I will move that we make it 4 for discussion.
I'll second, I agree, 4 is a good time.
My planning's a 4-year term too, so kind of, just as a reference, I know, but they're a 4-year elect, I'm just saying,
Yeah, no, 4 years
the
is good.
land body boards
Yeah,
are 4
we're
years.
thinking about making
2
4
years-
years for Board of Selectmen.
Yeah,
I know.
and 2 years,
4 is fine with me.
You know,
Okay.
alright.
Lost you there.
We're not talking.
We're just quiet.
We're writing
Okay.
in, you don't like sheep?
Hey, Tom, if we go on to another section, can you be sure that that section is printed on the screen so that it's easier for me to follow the topic?
Yeah, I'm trying to keep up with it. That these are the only 2 sections we've talked about so far.
Oh, good, okay.
Can you see,
okay,
can you
thank
see
you.
it now?
I can see, section 2130,
Yep.
that here, yep, okay.
Okay, so the change that we made to this was to insert the part that's in red above, shall hold public audience at full committee meetings. So that was the note I made on mine. You made that on yours too?
Yes, I wrote,
Yes, you got that.
committee shall, I copied it from above.
Okay,
I mean, I'm gonna go, cause I see you, are you typing into this too? I was gonna go by your copy, I thought you were typing into this.
yeah, you want me to type into this?
You
Okay,
can, but we'll
perfect.
use
I
yours
was
as the
looking at the
master,
code
cause you already
too
have
at
the
the
one with
same
the
time.
corrections in it.
Yes, okay, perfect,
Yeah.
I am, for my own purposes, I was keeping notes.
perfect.
Okay, should there be a motion to get anything else, next thing done? No.
I think the group accepted that,
Was I
Helen,
supposed to make a motion?
I don't know, I thought you had.
We did, we accepted that.
Did I say all those in
We did.
favor?
Well, we all said yes.
Yep, it's good.
So the other thing is under 21-8, if you go down,
Oh, my favorite section.
I know.
Karen, can you see that?
Yes, I can, thank you.
You're welcome.
So the sentence that is scratched out is a little bit awkward in the order and possibly created some confusion with the language because it's not aligned with the language that we use to describe these things. So I tried to simplify it in terms of the order and the intent. So, and I put my rationale in yellow.
And I like the word intends rather than desires.
So the red is what we're looking at.
Yeah,
Yeah, Marjorie, that's a good word, intends.
Well, that's Susan's.
Susan. Just for the sake of argument, for discussion purposes, instead of the word intent, or as an alternative to the word intends, I think we already talked about this, would a better term be is considering?
No,
Okay,
we
just,
talked about it.
alright, just throwing it out there. I wasn't sure where that ended up. Okay, now I know.
No, I'm not gonna say anything.
So
That's
the
great.
other, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it looks great. Thank you for all the hard work that you put into it.
Do you wanna say this, I'm just joking here, I have to say it, do you wanna say parcel of town-owned open space on the unsanctioned list that was created in 2015?
No, no, we're just
Sorry,
gonna
don't,
keep it
that's not for the
simple.
record.
Keep it simple. And then the other thing that has come up that's not in here, which we didn't talk about last time, is there or should there be some provision for, there's official notice related to the public hearing, but there's no official notice to the abutters or anything like that. And I didn't know
The abutters of the sale
abutters or,
of the property.
or how we
Well,
should
But it should
how we should notice things.
It should cover
Okay,
the town,
Yeah.
not just the
Question.
abutters.
Comment.
Yeah,
How is that identified in the, during the planning, planning commission or department, or the zoning commission or the inland wetlands, concerning a specific parcel, and how do you identify the fact within either of, in all of those commissions, that the abutters have to be notified? So that well, let's answer that question first. How do they identify that has to happen in those commissions?
that's an excellent question, Helen. I don't think, that is an excellent question, Helen, but I don't think there's any requirement for notice other than the public hearing notice, which involves, as you know, putting a sign on the property and posting it in the newspaper, which is a separate issue that we should have more requirements for public notice, but this is not the place to deal with that.
So, when the planning commission is reviewing an application for a new housing, okay, and the abutters have to be informed. How does that happen?
Well, you know, they
What
maybe
makes-
have to be,
What makes it happen?
a zone change makes it happen. So the abutters should be informed if the transaction involves a zone change. And so that maybe is something that we didn't deal with.
Sorry, I just reflected the bad news. That's-
Well, I guess I'm just remembering in the planning commission, when you had a plan before you, for subdivision, the abutters were supposed to be notified. Am I remembering incorrectly?
So it says for a zoning change, the zoning commission, which is actually not called out in this ordinance, the zoning commission must publish notices in a local newspaper, which, side note, I think is insufficient, and may also mail notices to abutting property owners, and must also notify the regional planning agency if the affected land is within 500 feet of another municipality.
Is this section B referencing what you're talking about? Where it says planning and zoning in section B?
Proposed decision.
At the bottom of the screen there. then wouldn't it be subject to planning and zoning commission's rules and notices at that point?
It will be a public hearing.
Right.
Well, so that's interesting. Yeah. That just talks about the hearing, it doesn't talk about the notice to abutters.
So
Well, I'm was referencing the review, where it says review by the planning and zoning commission. The planning and zoning commission agenda is posted and I would think their review, I don't know for sure, but doesn't their review process involve abutting landowners? For any changes, I thought.
so
Zoning, it does.
but in this case, for an example, there was nothing to say that you had to do that. Right? That was part of the catch that we found later, that somebody could just say they wanna buy it. And there was no requirement to,
Yeah, there's only one neighbor but we also have people from the public saying, why didn't I know about it, because I'm a member of the
Right,
public,
so-
that's town property.
So according, again, it's not written, and this is where it came up that we would say the next process, remember we said if it came up again, and this one died, so I don't know if it's ever gonna come up again, but if it does, it may, the town manager has said that we would definitely do like a certified letter or whatever to the abutting neighbor so that everybody knew that, but it's not documented anywhere at this point in time. What I was gonna say, Susan, I know, well, you don't wanna open the can of worms, but is that something we want in here? And that would be something I would actually ask Mark to weigh in on potentially, right? 'Cause
Well, maybe we should just add to B, because that seems like the appropriate place, all abutters shall be notified. Something like that,
And why is conservation not in this?
because you review it in part A.
Oh, okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, good. Phew, I was like, why are we left out? No, thank you.
So I think your addition of something to part B is a good idea.
unless there's no abutters, obviously, there could, you don't wanna say
Well, right.
to the abutter and the abutters.
So based on what you've all said, shouldn't the notification process take place before the referrals or along with the referrals to A and B? So that those two people have a chance to speak at those committee meetings where
trying to figure out-
they're speaking about those topics.
It's always, it's one of the things that I mentioned in my letter to the charter commission, we don't have public audience unless we have a finding of significance and we have a public hearing. We don't, and sometimes we miss out on information that way. So
Do you accept written testimony?
people can write us letters, yeah, but we don't have public audiences, which I think is.
So let's say an abutter was notified that the town's considering doing such and such with whatever property.
Yeah.
The letter might say that town meetings will be held, these groups will be reviewing it. They would certainly pick up the phone and call
Yeah.
and say.
They'd write a letter.
Write a letter.
Yeah.
The planning department would say, we don't have a public audience, but you're welcome to write the commission
Yeah,
on
they
it.
could do that. They could.
Well, if there is any intention for us to put anything in writing here about notification of abutters, I don't think it should be under B. It could be C by itself, but I don't think it should be B with B.
Why is that, Helen? Because let me just add one small thing.
B, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, because, so here's my rationale for adding it in B, because A
Okay.
is sort of an overall, review. And we may find some like deal breakers or whatever that may, or we may find it looks good, we may find a deal breaker. So B means now you're moving on to scheduling a public hearing and putting it to planning and all that. And maybe we could say, when the public hearing is scheduled or in parallel with scheduling the public hearing, all abutters shall be notified. So that gives a
Okay.
timestamp for when they're notified. Does that make sense?
Okay. I like the words where you said, so that it's at the time that you are establishing the public hearing, that's when they are notified.
My
However you,
my understanding of what the group is looking for was that you'd want the opportunity for those people to speak to the Parks and Recreation Commission. You'd like them to speak to conservation. The public hearing is the Board of Selectmen public hearing first, or is it after the referrals made from the other groups?
That's fair. Yeah,
I think if you're truly looking to get input from the like what you just said, you might not get that information when it's put before you.
Yeah.
But I could say the Board of Selectmen may decide not to schedule a public hearing. So you've identified to everybody that you may do this, and we may say we don't wanna do it.
Well, that's if these boards give you a negative referral, you may not choose to do a public hearing on it, right? It doesn't,
Right.
the public hearing, I
Right.
think, came after, I think when we did Meadowwood years ago, it was the referral, it was executive session, this is an opportunity. Then the board gave the commissions, the different land use boards, the task of investigating and referring it back, giving a positive or negative referral back.
Yeah.
And then there was a public hearing held on whether the town should move, whether the Board of Selectmen should move forward with the sale. I think based on what I've seen the discourse of this past sale was because the abutting landowners or other people in town were not made aware of it as these other groups were deciding whether to give a positive or negative referral. I think that's what you're referring to, Marjorie.
Yeah.
So wouldn't you want the opportunity for people, the abutters, to be notified before the other boards take it up and decide whether they're gonna give a positive or negative referral to the Board of Selectmen? So that would,
I agree with you, Tom. I think we should put it in A, after the first sentence, open space, culture, parks and rec and conservation shall severally review and report. And then just put in a sentence, all abutters shall be notified. Right there.
Perfect, because the intent of all of this, the rationale and the intent of all of this is to involve as many citizens in the process before you get to the end where you have a public hearing. They need to be part of the discussion and have the opportunity to be part of the discussion earlier in the process. So that was a good idea. I like that.
I think it saves the Board of Selectmen some potential headaches down the line too,
unexpected
because
surprises or
it gets the discourse out there before it ever becomes a Board of Selectmen.
And the neighbors are usually most informed about the property.
Correct. And all these meetings are publicly noticed anyways, so technically, I mean, that's the way the town gets out information about what's on the agendas.
And since there's gonna be a public hearing, if it gets that far, everyone.
But it is fair to let the abutters know that, hey, this project, this particular parcel is being discussed at such and such, these meetings.
But it communicates and engages the public earlier in the process. That's what I think is the most important.
Yeah, I agree. Are you good with that one?
Yeah, I just wanted to equate it to what we were saying about a zoning thing where they have to let the abutters know. What's the timing of, does zoning send out for referrals? So do they send it out to the abutters when they do the referrals? Then that would be the timing. And that's what you're saying, right? Which would be the same timing. Cause then they have the hearing after they send out for the referrals, it's the same thing, so I would think it'd be the same thing. But don't ask the Board of Selectmen to send out another letter.
Right.
I mean, everybody supposedly heard, they're gonna come and say they didn't hear about it, but not my problem,
Right,
right?
which is probably why Mark said send a certified letter or something, so you
That's what
know it
he
was
said.
delivered.
Yeah, I know, but you could put it here, that's fine.
Isn't that how they go out anyway?
I don't know.
I don't
This is-
know.
Oh, maybe, so,
I think they go with certified, because otherwise people say never. You never have.
But-
Good,
Right.
So
certified
guys,
are terrible.
I have a grammar question about paragraph A there. Does that adverb severally in the second sentence mean that each of the commissions and the open space has looked at it individually on their own? It's not a group meeting, right?
Correct.
Okay, that's great, that's fine. And then the last sentence, I kind of have a process. let's see, where does it start? In the case of the disapproval, the reasons therefore shall be reported and transmitted to the Board of Selectmen. I don't know, and maybe it's just me, what the Board of Selectmen does with that list of reasons. Does that need to be said there, or is it handled elsewhere?
It doesn't need to be said anywhere.
No, yeah, I agree.
Okay, so tell me why. What does the Board of Selectmen do with 1 yes and 2 no's, or whatever the
That-
decisions are?
That's
We decide
that's
what
part
we
of their
wanna
decision
do.
process.
That's, so they decide what to do with it, and they have no commitment about
No.
how they let people.
Yeah,
What?
the referral letters are non-binding, are not,
Okay.
right, Randy? They're not binding to the Board of Selectmen.
No, because, no,
No, they're not, yeah. So they're not
The
binding.
Board of I'm sorry, the Board of Selectmen would never do nothing with those comments, correct?
They could ignore them if they
we
wanted.
almost, we don't have to, we read them, but we don't have to acknowledge what's
They're
in them.
advisory, Karen.
Yeah,
Okay, all right, I just wanted to understand that, thank you.
okay. Anything else?
Is therefore spelled incorrectly?
I wondered that too, I think that's legal.
Which paragraph, Kelly?
Second to last line of paragraph A. The reasons
Last
therefore.
line,
Oh,
it's missing an E. Therefore should be.
thank you, Kelly.
My one value add for the day.
I have one too,
I
Kelly.
was just gonna say something.
Wendy, what was yours?
My ad was the term,
Oh, the term.
that was a good one.
Now, I'm sorry, I didn't write that. Are we writing that in here someplace?
For the 4-year term?
Yes.
Yeah.
On the previous page, I thought you were writing.
I got distracted
I
by
wrote it
another
in
thing.
as, on this upper section here,
Should we do it after, or their deputy, and
The
the 3
top.
other town electors to be appointed for a 4-year term by the Board of Selectmen?
no, I thought where you. I wrote appointed committee members shall be committee
did a
members shall be
separate section.
appointed for 4-year terms. I wrote it as.
So that makes
might
that
have to
makes
note.
it clearer.
In that first section on the top
Oh,
here,
that'd be good.
in that same sentence with the established rules and procedures kind of thing. Or actually, you could put it up by where it says, right up here, where it says, the 3 others.
Yeah.
Or other
Uh,
town
the
electors
three other
shall be
electors, the 3
appointed.
other electors,
Clear.
comma, appointed to 4-year terms by
Yeah.
the Board of Selectmen.
Yes, yeah,
Clear.
Shall be, yeah.
that's it, that's right, that's right.
Appointed for 4-year terms? Is that the wording?
I think it's 2, appointed 2, no?
Appointed to 4-year terms? 2.
You can always let the legalese people figure that out.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so I got that, and I should put that below, correct? Just to keep it consistent?
Yeah. What's the page? We're all done with this section now, right?
I got this all right.
I don't see any more changes. Recommended changes.
No, I'm just adding the all abutters shall be notified part, and then, so I think that's good. Yeah, so we can go on to the next agenda item.
Just might wanna check and see if anybody had anything on that other page under C and D.
Final call for any changes. And then I was thinking, you know, I can just scratch this out when I send this to Tom, is just make a little cover letter and say, we're sending this, dear Charter Revision Committee, we're sending this on behalf of the Open Space Committee. Okay,
To Tom and Franklin.
Tom, send it to Tom Fitzgerald.
okay.
Oh,
Or is it Franklin?
Franklin's-
Oh, it's Franklin. Franklin's the commission.
Oh, yeah,
their
Franklin's
liaison,
the
yeah.
staff
Yeah.
support, okay.
Well, I didn't watch last night's.
Oh, I haven't even.
I have to catch up on it.
Too busy.
Me too.
Okay, all right, so going once,
I did watch the last one.
Not last night.
No, the one before.
It still has to come back to the board of selectmen for approval.
oh, the charter revision, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I think we're set. I'm gonna look over this carefully and make sure, but we can move on. It's only 5:53.
Speak for yourself, Susan.
Okay, the disposition
dinner
data
today.
form. This should be quick, cause we already talked about this at the working group. And we're, Kelly, this is, the data form that we filled out for this property and that was developed, 8 years ago. We made minor changes, and I think you were at the meeting where we talked about them. One was, adding a site walk. One was, adding another phrase to the question, which I think was number 11. Oh, is it all in the packet? Like, what is this property gonna be used for? There was very minor changes and basically buffed up the formatting. So this was just to codify this at our full meeting and see if people had any comments or whatever.
There's just that one hash marks under preface and overview there. I don't know what that's just a mistake. That's left, it's on the bottom of the screen here.
Oh.
I didn't know what that meant.
Oh. Well, I was just trying to like delineate, like, here's where the questions start.
It's a section break, Tom.
Yeah, it's just intended to be like a break.
Okay. Not familiar
We
with
do it all the time.
Oh, okay. Is that what it normally looks like in final form? Or draft form? Cause
The
I
section breaks,
Yeah.
sometimes in Word, it'll turn it into a line if you hit enough of them.
oh, okay. I've just never seen, I just don't recall seeing it before.
I can do that, Kelly. Just to keep this moving, I'm gonna say I move to adopt our data form. Second.
Oh, I get it. I'm supposed to say all those in favor.
Oh, okay,
I call the vote.
I
okay.
heard that. You already said it.
All those in favor, say aye.
Well, I was gonna ask if there was any discussion.
I know,
Oh, sorry, I beg your
there's
pardon.
not.
Okay,
All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Well
okay,
done.
good. Okay,
Yeah, thanks, everybody. Thank you, Susan.
okay, the site walk, which I don't know, conservation has other stuff to do.
Yeah, we've been busy, so we were thinking, of postponing it till May 7th, which would be on our day of our open space thing. But I understand that I'm supposed to schedule this now through the town manager's office.
Okay, this is the sidewalk
For
for
Meadowwood.
Is this for the Autobahn or is this for the land swap or both and or both?
It's the same.
I think it should go
Yeah.
through a wider audience.
Well, that's what I was hoping that would go through. We were
Because
planning
we
on
all have
noticing
plans
everyone.
for that
I
land.
know, and they're all different. So we thought it'd be good for everyone to take a look at it. I was wondering whether May 7th would be a possible date. It's in lieu of doing our work group, we could do the site walk.
Works for me.
It's fine with me.
It's something in May.
I'm good with that.
I think I'm.
That's a good idea.
Right. So I will call.
Who will be sending, who's gonna be sending the board's invitations, is it? Cause before we were talking about conservation, asking the other boards.
We were going to do that because we were going to make a recommendation to.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but now I can't remember who told me that I was supposed to go through the town plan.
It wasn't me, but
No, I
it might have been
know.
the town manager.
No, I
Brittany?
talked.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my
it might have
version.
been Brittany has been told that I was going to go through the town manager. So I can contact tomorrow and ask if May 7th or when she wants to do it, or
You should do it through Brittany. She told you to,
I'll do it through Brittany.
It just-
let her,
yeah.
let her work with
And then
Could I ask who are the, excuse me, could I ask who the groups are that are
I think,
expected to be invited to this walk?
yeah, I think it's the Open Space Committee, the Culture Parks and Rec Commission, the Conservation Committee, and the Board of Selectmen, and the town manager's office. Am I missing anybody?
Planning, zoning, I mean, anybody who wants to.
well, who has oversight over that property to make the
Well,
decision?
ultimately,
Us,
Yeah.
right?
You do.
Well,
That's what needs to be there,
the,
planning and zoning don't have any. Right,
The
well,
liaison,
it's all zoned the same as like, I think it's HOD or something.
zoned open space.
There's what's an HOD zoning? I just looked it up because I did a paper on it at school. I should
No
send it to-
idea. I have no idea what it stands for.
I don't know if that's still the zoning there.
Okay, but that's what
I
I,
thought they removed it when it was zoned for residential. I thought it got changed when we bought the property.
Yeah, I don't think it's HOD
okay,
anymore.
well, that's what I saw in some of the stuff I looked up. My bad. Oh, I lied in my paper. It's okay. Where's the this is,
That's
that's
the,
it.
that's the thing, I'm hoping to solve it to ground to here. That's quite obvious when you're on the field, right? Sorry. Just wanted to say.
I guess I wonder, next time we figure out what the cost would be to do whatever we did, to look at those acres, You know,
I know, Doug Beach,
yeah,
who was a golf course designer and was landscape architect, he has some ideas about how it might be better in one spot than the other spot. So it would, but before we ever get, anything drawn on paper, it's good for the town to look at
see it.
and consider options. And it is farmland, which we don't have much of.
well, both are, right?
No, the other one's is like a sand pit.
So how did they build homes out of sand?
Well, you can build homes anywhere, just building stuff. But it's not it's either building homes or fields or whoever, there are all sorts of competing things, but we should take a look at.
I'm being a hard ass.
No, yeah, I mean, I just think it behooves the town to look at the
Yeah, I agree.
property.
I'm
Well, I
happy-
agree. I've been
yeah.
pushing for years just for somebody to take a look at it so we
Yeah.
can move, we can decide if there's gonna be
Yeah.
trails or it's
Yeah.
always gonna be
Yeah.
farmland or it's gonna be something or
Yeah.
changing the names. It's
Oh,
my,
yeah, that was, that's not it.
that's
Yeah, I
my
was
personal
looking at
preference
this.
first.
What do you wanna call it?
Anything but Meadowwood. Meadowwood, we paid millions of dollars to fight for years.
I know, it has, that was my very first
That should
conservation
have been the
commission
first,
meeting.
I think that should have been the first thing we did after we bought it is
Change
change it to
the
something
Cause
else.
Meadowwood was the name back in
Yeah, some
1998.
accountant in,
Yeah.
some marketing person in their division of Colbro decided they were gonna call it Meadowwood because
So this is what you're looking at?
it's got no historical
There's
significance.
like, some of that soil was taken off, but there's a hill, and you could do a cut fill perhaps, but this is currently farmed. And it's.
It will be
so is that part.
when we go, you'll see the farmland laid out.
Hopefully they haven't planted them.
No, they're not doing it in spring. He said he's done for at least a year on that.
There's
I mean,
your sacrifice.
Did you use chicken or?
Yes,
I used it for my report,
Yeah.
and then I made this report, I made this
You
picture.
put like,
I created this. Well, it's a paper for school.
Massachusetts Boulevard.
What school? You have to tell us what school, Wendy.
I'm in the Yukon MPA program,
Thank you.
and I'm graduating on May 12th.
Wonderful.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
I'm very excited to be done.
So, all right, I will contact the town, I will contact Brittany to contact the town manager for a May 7th date. And we'll do that in lieu of the,
Open Space Work Group meeting in May.
yes, okay. Invasive removal update, we've got a training program on April 19th at the Apple Barn from 9 to 11. It's open to the public. Remember to pick up the key, the 18th. And on Onion Mountain on Saturday the 26th from 9 to 11, we will do some more.
What's the date again?
26. We will do more burning bush removal. We had some interested, someone's going in there to do some capstone work on high school students.
High school, nice.
So those are the two upcoming dates, and of course there are lots of dates. Anyone wants to join the Simsbury Land Trust, we're doing access removal, but that's on our website.
Martha, what did you say is the topic at the farms?
Oh, at the Apple, I'm sorry. It's an overview on invasive plants, why they're bad, how to identify them, how to remove them. And we'll be doing a little bit of a workshop along the trail.
Great, thank you.
All hands-on.
Yep.
Okay, Arboretum update. That's, I included Trinity's application in here. And I also sent it to Karen, and we could start, kind of chipping away at the Schultz Park Arboretum. I know, who said they went there? Karen went.
I did.
Karen, you said you went, right?
I did.
Oh, Helen did.
Well, I said I was gonna go one day, but it was a rainy Saturday, so I'm probably gonna go this Saturday and track all of the plants that are there according to the map.
Wow.
Okay, yeah, there
Check
is,
them off, right? As best I can. I mean,
Yeah.
I did talk to Michelle Jenks
Oh, good.
informally. I said that we might be talking to her about, she was surprised that this was an idea. So we should include her since
Yes,
she's
yeah, we've
in charge
talked about her,
of it.
but we haven't
Yes.
officially reached
Yes.
out to her.
And she said there is that new sign, you never saw
Exactly.
that sign, there is
Yeah.
one that talks about the plants.
Excuse me, Marjorie, who did you say you were talking to about that?
Michelle Jenks, who's sort of
Okay.
the person in charge of maintaining.
She's the beautification committee member who
Yes.
Correct, I just didn't hear the name.
takes care of that.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah,
in
I mean,
charge.
maybe we
No,
can just get her in the
you're right,
loop on
you're right.
this. Like, that's
Yes.
what we intended to a long time ago, and I
Yes.
think no one
Yes.
officially did that.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
I
how
would
would you,
love to walk through with her, if we can get her in the loop, that would be great.
yes.
okay. Do you wanna spearhead that, Karen?
Yeah, but I need her contact
I can
information.
send you that.
Okay, Marjorie, please do.
Don't forget to copy me, Susan.
I have a question because I may have asked it already, but I don't remember. Does the board have to approve applying for this?
You would.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Just like the forest, the
Yeah,
old growth
okay.
forest, yeah.
so you take care of all this and then you bring it to us to approve it, okay.
Mhm.
I thought I have already asked that, I did.
Okay,
Is there I have one question about the packet, Susan, that you're putting together for us. Does it have the original gift, documents?
for Schultz Park,
Yes.
I'm not necessarily putting it together. I just provided a template that we did for Trinity.
And we are to find, Karen and I can look and find the, documents that belong in that packet, okay.
Sure.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, I mean, I worked with Tom trying to get some information on the open space website. And I don't think we have to they're not requiring a huge amount of documentation. What they really care about is what's the documentation of the species you have there and what's the plan going forward, and that there is public access and some other things like that. So it doesn't have to be an Encyclopedia Britannica.
Yeah, as soon as I get a copy of that, then I'll know what the questions will be. Thank you.
Okay. The questions that in the open space packet, Helen, the whole document is in the open space packet. I can send it to
Okay.
you though. I'll send it as a separate thing.
No, I have that packet.
Oh, okay.
You don't have to send me an extra one.
Okay.
I have it.
Okay. Okay, open space overview. Anything else on the Arboretum? We'll just keep on chipping away. There's no deadline, so just kind of a project.
Well, sometimes if you don't put a deadline, it doesn't get done. So let's say within the calendar year, how's that?
I like those kind of.
Well, I
Those
was
are my great, those are mine, I'm a procrastinator.
Great, we'll be doing it in December 26th.
I know. Well,
A year from now.
I was really intending that this would be something we could do in honor of the 250th of the country in 2026. So, I mean, that is what I was thinking, is we'd chip away at it this year and get it done, you know, by the fall, and then we could like celebrate it, you know, next year, basically.
Very good. Thank you.
Picture that shows up on my phone. That's a great picture.
Me and her.
Yeah.
Look at her. She's adorable.
Think positive.
What's the picture of your profile?
Yeah, my friend did it and I saw.
Okay, all right, winding down here. Open space overview. I just provided this because I had handed this out at a meeting and I don't think it ever was put anywhere. And I tried to buff it up to make it more clear because there still seems to be some confusion. So I'm just trying to lay out like all the documents, definitions, etc. And that's why I included it here. It doesn't, we don't have to discuss it. There's no, or I mean, I'm open to edits or if people think there's things that are unclear. I'm just putting it out there as sort of an explainer that I thought would be helpful. And if you want to take time to look this over and discuss it more in the future, given the late hour, I'm open to that too. I was just trying to,
Seems like a good.
you know,
Yeah, I'm tired.
yeah.
I think it's fabulous.
Thank you, Kelly.
Can I have,
Can I bring something up? Go ahead, Helen, but then I'll ask a question after you.
it wasn't Helen, it was Wendy.
Helen raised her hand.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I see it. I'm not even looking at the screen, that's my bad.
Go ahead, Helen.
Question, in lieu of that overview process that we will be looking at, this might be the timing, going forward for us to think about when we would like to look at establishing our rules for governing the, committee? Would this be the time to do it?
Right this minute? No.
No.
Well, we couldn't do it until June at the earliest.
No, the fact that you have put together the overview with all that in it, this comes on, having the rules and regulations comes under that overview theme, so to speak. So
Not
we
really, Helen, this is just about definitions. It's not about rules about the committee at all. But we can take that up at a future
It
time.
answers more the what is open space in Simsbury question.
Yeah,
Okay,
But it could be the preamble for when we do tackle it.
yeah, exactly. But just so everyone knows, we're having the site walk in May. So the soonest we could discuss that is June. So maybe we can put that on the agenda for June to start, and we can think about it prior.
okay, thank you.
Well, I have to go make salad soon, but I do have a
Yum.
question.
Okay. Shoot,
Ready?
yep.
When do we, as the Open Space Committee, get to talk about open space?
That's a good question.
I'm kidding.
No,
But are we ever going to have the opportunity to discuss the possible acquisition? I realize money is something that's a separate conversation, but things that we would identify as potentially beneficial to the town, and I really would love to hear, maybe not necessarily tonight, but at some point, everyone's opinion on, is it really, first of all, it is under our purview, because something that I read in preparation for tonight said that it was part of our purview. And so in addition to many other things that we're doing, it'd be great if we could at least throw a dart at a couple of pieces of property that we think, just internally, and I know I brought this up a long time ago, but just internally, maybe not in a public setting, but so we know what's on our radar.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Good idea. I have a comment. May I?
Yes,
Okay,
Chair recognizes that.
Kelly, that's a good, thought. We get bogged down with all this other stuff and.
It's good stuff, though. Sorry to interrupt.
And we don't get to the heart of the purpose here. Past practice, anytime any one individual, a landowner, or any group of people such as the planning commission, zoning commission, anyone, any entity, the board of selectmen, any individual can bring to us a suggestion if they know that something might come available that is important enough for us to look at it. That's what past practice has been. However, I sense that you want to make an attempt to have a more formal opportunity amongst us to talk about it, and that should have been and should be in the planning POCD. That traditionally has been where we have had an opportunity to talk about, and we do in that document talk about in general what kinds of types and whether it be cultural, historic, or ecological pieces that we wish to add to our lands, then that's where we more than likely will find something. I'm not so sure this year or last year I should say, it got into the POCD because we never had a chance to talk with them about it. But I will do some research if you like and address it at some future meeting.
I'll leave my comments at this. There have been has been a tremendous amount of work done on so many different things that I have to say bravo. So Susan, well done, and the rest of the team, well done. So I'm sitting here in my chair doing absolutely nothing. So that being said, I just want to say thank you for all that work. At some point, when it's the appropriate time, I have some thoughts on the open space acquisition piece.
Yeah, Kelly, I would,
Did I misunderstand, or did I understand you say you have a specific?
I don't want to put it into the record, don't even want to put it on the recording, because I want it to be an informal conversation so that it doesn't get publicly broadcast, and then before you know it, it's a rumor that's unfounded.
yeah.
Okay.
I can I ask a question? Is there money in the open space fund to purchase property?
$4.23.
It's not a lot.
We could, but
No, I'm just asking, is there money in there now?
There isn't, no, there, I shouldn't say that. There's the open space maintenance fund, which I think that is considered the same fund. I could be wrong. I'll have to ask,
Okay.
I'll ask Amy Meriwether,
I'm
the
just
fine
curious.
service to confirm.
we
Last time I
have a
checked, it
little
was
bit of money.
There was like 83,000 left in it, in the maintenance fund. I'm not sure if that is the
It's the
same
same
fund for the
fund.
acquisition fund. The state was considering a few years ago, I don't know if you remember, I was hoping Simsbury was gonna sign on to it and we didn't. They were gonna, on the conveyance, each town could choose to add like 1% onto its conveyance tax. So only people who were buying in town would pay the tax. And that would go into an open space acquisition fund. In the town, there was the realtors fought it or were advocating against it because they didn't want to see an additional tax. But current residents in Simsbury would never pay the tax. It was only people as they moved into town would pay the tax, and it would build up over time for acquisition. I thought it was a really smart way to fund open space acquisition in the communities, and
They do it in Massachusetts.
yeah, they do.
Did it come to us?
I don't know that
Glastonbury.
it was cost
Glastonbury.
brought it up, I thought, and there wasn't a huge appetite. They
okay.
realtors cost, I think, wanted
Oh, so
it.
they never passed?
It never passed.
in the
I don't think
state
it did.
level?
I don't think it
Okay.
did. But it was, a lot of communities were looking at it, but
Got
the
it.
advocate.
Oh, that is interesting.
Because otherwise, how do you get the money?
Right, right.
Right, because you can't, it's hard to budget for, in tough times for open space.
No, I know.
Especially when we bought.
I know in Cape Cod, they have a big fund, they
Yeah, so-
can buy that.
you have a town like Glastonbury, who has been very successful over all the years to regularly set aside money for acquisition, place it in the fund at the time that the budget is being put together. Now, they've been very successful. They've done it. Here in Simsbury, the past practice has been, and they say that the town is so good about coming together and mustering the money at the last minute after you've got a piece of land rather than before, that's the way they prefer to leave it and not to designate an amount of money out of the budget every year. So that's past practice and it's never changed.
Yeah, I mean, we've been bailed, in my opinion, we've been bailed out by the Trust for Public Land for the last 2 decades for these large parcel purchases, which the community has supported. There's an appetite for it. But the smaller purchases, like a lot that might connect, we don't have the money at hand to say that, let's say there's a parcel becomes available that connects 2 of our open space parcels. We don't have the ability to go out and spend a couple $100,000 with a fund that's ready set aside to take advantage of that at the time it's for sale. We, you know, that's where I think you're right, Helen. Glastonbury's made a good.
Say it again.
I think I agree with you that Glastonbury's made a good decision because they can react quicker to those opportunities that come up because they have a fund set aside. We're more reactive. I mean, we're more delayed in our response because we have to go out and seek help or grant money in order to do these larger purchases. We haven't been able to take advantage of any smaller purchases that might be advantageous to the town in the long run because we don't have a set aside fund.
So the resistance has been there over the years. Whether or not we can change that, we can always try. And we actually have worked with agencies like the Trust for Public Land since the 1990s. We've had a long, good history doing that. And so the Board of Finance, their rationale, their response to us when we try to say we need to be putting some money into the fund on a regular basis, they say we've done such a good job otherwise that they just resist the idea. So that's my info.
And I was remiss in, I should have given credit to the land trust for taking advantage of a lot of those opportunities that the town itself can't take advantage of.
Yes,
Because-
we're also highly dependent on those same funds.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
And I always love it when sometimes the land trust will pay, it's like, we don't have any money either. We do.
Yeah, so I just want to make 3 points on that, Kelly. First of all, we do have a fund, so if we had identified a property and wanted to fundraise for it, we have a bureaucratic mechanism to deal with that. Second of all, if there are properties that you're interested in, we passed a comprehensive acquisition criteria checklist that's on the open space website. So it would be important to look at that list of criteria for acquisition and see what criteria a certain property might fulfill. That's an important consideration. And then third of all, the town manager did say he was taking a number of parcels for back taxes and that some of those parcels may be eligible to be open space. I haven't heard anything more about that, but those may be acquisitions that are coming our way. So so we may have some properties to discuss.
And it might, and also some of those things, when we do it with the town and the land trust, sometimes it's easier to get the funding.
Yeah. So I think we should, think about properties that are important and figure out a way to make it happen.
That's awesome. Good stuff.
it's on our website, our Facebook page.
Everybody have an open mind on that topic? I'll wrap it up. I promise I won't bring anything else up on that, but
This was more fun.
money was no object. Everybody have an open mind?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. Every little piece, little
Yeah.
pieces can make a
Wendy's
difference.
cringing, going, oh my gosh, I wish this guy would stop talking.
I know, I'm not even looking up there, I'm just thinking
I
about,
know.
I'm thinking about the, taxes and spending another $200,000 on property
That's why you do it through the conveyance tax. You hit them
Yeah,
as
if you
they come
have
into
a
town.
funding mechanism is
or we
one
could-
thing.
there's many funding mechanisms. Let's just open our
I
minds.
will
and
say it
see.
is in, I believe the SPAC, the Simsbury Housing Policy, is also gonna be looking at opportunities to purchase land for potential future housing.
And
So we may be
hopefully,
competing with each other.
hopefully that will be also developing land that's already developed.
Yeah, oh yeah, it
Yeah.
could, but it also includes a 24 acres.
Sounds like we're all kind of similar-minded on this topic, or like-minded on this topic, so it's a good thing.
Alright,
Thanks, everybody, for your hard
Thank
work.
you. Oh, am I
Thanks.
gonna call
Yes.
adjourn?
Yes.
Ask for a motion to adjourn.
so moved.
Wait, what about our events? I just wanna mention, we're showing the Beaver Pond Wildlife Film on Friday, 6:00 social hour, 7:00 film, and Return of Old Growth Forests, which is a new film at the library on April 23rd. The Land Trust is doing that, so I'm doing your events too.
Thank you very much, and I like the way you
And Community Cleanup Day is gonna be Saturday, May 3rd from 8 to 10:30.
Oh, is that like the litter lugging day?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Advertising starting tomorrow.
I might have school on.
Could you repeat those dates again, Susan, at the library, the movies?
The movie is
Saturday.
April 23rd.
That's the same.
And the one before that, this weekend?
Sustainability.
It's Friday,
Starts at 10 and
the
goes till
right,
2,
fourth
ending at 10:30.
is the film at the
Friday before.
Grange.
He could synergy.
Thank you.
Yep.
They're doing a demo of removing the invasives, hopefully with information, in front of the Boy Scout, Boy Scout. There's so many.
I think we're ready to adjourn
Oh,
now.
I'm sorry, I tried.
I know, I'm
Motion
sorry.
to adjourn, can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Meeting is adjourned.
All right, thank you.
For over 40 years, SCM has been the voice of our town.
bringing us together through local programming,
Education.
and live broadcasts.
SEM isn't just about television.
It's about empowering our community.
Ensuring our voices are heard during government meetings.
And celebrating milestones.
like our high school graduations.
But today, SEM faces a challenge.
Our funding structure is based on television subscriptions.
And it's no secret, people have been cutting the cord.
With a shift to internet-only subscriptions,
SCM receives less revenue.
Even though all our programming is freely available online.
We need your support.
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 Your donation can make a difference.
It will ensure that SCM remains open.
Continues to educate our youth.
And keeps our community informed.
Thanks to SCM, I've been honing my creative skills, helping me work towards my college degree.
SCM is crucial for keeping our community connected.
SCM isn't just here to broadcast local events. They're actually preserving Simsbury's history.
Join us.
Join us in preserving Simsbury's voice.
Simsbury's voice.
Together we can ensure that SCM continues to thrive.
For generations to come.
Visit our website.
Or scan the QR code on your screen to make your donation.
Every contribution
Counts.
Thank you for supporting Simsbury Community Media.
where your town
Your schools
And your government come together.